Hello there, and episode 17 is this podcast's first crack at WrestleMania. WrestleMania 34 to be precise. And my name's Reese, and with me as always is Harry. Say hello, Harry.
Hello, Reese. You okay?
Fine, thank you. I'm still feel like crap because I watched both NXT and WrestleMania this weekend. And
you've given yourself jet lag. That's the effect of
it. It's jet lag. I feel like crap, basically. But, you know, whatever. I'd like to think that watching WrestleMania was completely worth it, but perhaps a good 4 hours of it were not.
It's a bit of a mixed show, to say the least.
Yeah. In a change of tradition with this episode, I thought we should start at the end. And obviously, there's a few talking points coming out of WrestleMania, but one of the big ones is the result of the main event. Brock Lesnar retaining against Roman Reigns, the chosen one, who's in his fourth WrestleMania main event in a row, I believe.
I think so, yeah. I think that's the record as well at the moment, too.
Yeah, so he lost. Everyone thought it was the most predictable thing ever, and he lost. So, Brock Lesnar against Roman Reigns, Harry, what did you think?
I was not very optimistic about it, and I was more interested in the result, which, again, like a lot of people, was presuming it was Roman's coronation. Yeah. Where at least the match might have been shit, but at least, Roman was going to win, Universal title would be back to being actually defended, etc. The match itself was basically a greatest hits compilation of all Lesnar matches for the last 3 years, which is literally he does 3 moves, he does them a multitude of times to the point of utter ridiculousness, and the end result is just bad. It really is fucking bad.
Yeah, this was. You kind of think that if they would have, how long did this match go? Was it like 15 minutes?
I don't know. Again, I think there was like 25 minutes left at Mania by the time the bell rang. Obviously, you had the 10-minute music video and the 2 minutes of Roman walking like solemnly to the back.
Yeah,
on, yeah.
15 minutes 55 seconds. Yeah, this could have been. This result could have been achieved in probably 6 minutes with all the same moves. I did actually do a count. I
did as well. Yeah, I did. Don't worry.
I'm struggling to find more than 5 or 6 actual moves that were used in this match.
No, Brock's moves was, I think, 1 clothesline, few overhead belly-to-belly suplexes, a few German suplexes, and a ridiculous number of F5s.
Yeah, whereas I think Roman's was pretty much down to Superman punches, random strikes, and a couple of spears.
Yeah, it was built as a big brawl, and don't get me wrong, it worked wonders at WrestleMania 31.
But Seth getting involved in 31 was what saved that match.
I disagree. No, that match was still pretty heated and well contested before Seth made his grand entrance.
Maybe.
But you had Lesnar, blade. I think he got cut open hard way on his cheek, and there was a bit of effort involved. This though, it was like, I can't describe it. It was just, it plodded along. It was dull as fuck. Crowd has become way more apathetic towards Brock in the 3 years since that previous match, and they still hate Roman.
Well, the crowd reaction is something I wanted to talk about actually, because there is a rumour that McMahon changed the result of this match. He did pull an audible based on the fact that he saw how the crowd reacted to the match. And, well, the one thing really is how little the crowd reacted to the match. I think that's the damning thing when you consider that any cheer during this match from the crowd came from the fact that this is when the Beach Balls came out in the crowd.
I'm glad I didn't know what the fuck was going on, but it was on camera side, so I knew the hard camera crowd were reacting to something basically facing us. But it's Beach Balls there.
It's Beach Balls, and a lot of the cheers from that were when the security guards, when the Beach Balls evaded the security guards.
At least they weren't on camera side. I think even that would have driven me mad, but
Yeah, and then you had the boring chants, the "this is awful" chants,
Which
and
it
other than
was.
that,
The match was
yeah,
bad.
it
The
was.
match
Yeah,
was bad. There's no sugarcoating it. This was a bad match.
yeah, it was a bad match, and even just some of the booking decisions I thought were just odd because obviously the last say 6 months of Brock Lesnar's reign and his defenses, he's finished his matches off with one F5. So clearly, a spot that was being built towards was that he'd hit the F5 and that Roman would kick out, and that was supposed to mean something. Which obviously, I mean, in terms of just pro wrestling booking, it did. But during this match, he hit six of them. Obviously, he kicked out of five, and then even the one he won the match with, obviously because everyone was so, everyone thought Roman was going to win. I don't think there was anyone who realistically thought that Brock was ever going to retain his title here. He's won with that, and it was just probably the only pop the match got all night was just the fact that they got to see something that was a bit of a surprise, and so six F5s, which I mean, not being funny, kind of buries the move a little bit. I don't think it does Roman any favors whatsoever because he's just taken six of these moves that's destroyed everyone for the last 6 months, and he's still lost. Lesnar's kicked out of what 3 or 4 spears. It was just such a weird, stupid match. And the blood is disgusting. I'm not a fan of this at all, and I've got a feeling that it's another rumor that part of the Vince and Brock argument that supposedly happened after the match was based on the fact that Brock, again, owing to the reaction the match was getting, just thought he needed to get something, and so hard weighed on Roman, which in it was disgusting. I thought, I mean, I'm a big fan of blood in wrestling. I think it is a great tool to tell a story. This I just thought was way too over the top.
I think it's a bit pathetic that they're absolutely hell bent on saying no blading whatsoever. But blading is controlled. Blading is literally someone nipping themselves on the head for maximum effect. Brock is basically clattering the fuck out of someone's head, hoping that they eventually split open. And
they
first
showed
time he
you,
did this,
sorry, just to say, they showed you the slow motion of the punch that did it to Roman, and it's fucking horrible.
I know, but they do this all the time. As soon as there's a little bit of legitimacy in wrestling, despite the fact that they'll scream and holler about it being, oh, it's fucking dreadful backstage, they'll fucking focus on it the whole time. It's like Cesaro's teeth, they fucking couldn't let go of that. They did it recently as well, where Braun got punched in the head. Do you remember?
Yeah, that was quite humorous.
Exactly the same circumstances. Oh, wrestling's a bit real for 5 seconds. Fucking focus on that instead of this boring shit match. But
there's a thing with blading though, when blading's all when obviously I suppose the element of blading that Vince probably doesn't like or he doesn't want his sponsors to get involved with or to moan about is the self mutilation element to it. I mean, you look at people like Vince, and I mean, I was looking at Devon during the Hall of Fame speeches. His face, his forehead so gigged up. But when you do that, when you do actually blade, you always have that moment where you have your head down, and then you obviously do the blading. Then, as you lift your head, the camera's there ready, and the fans get to see the crimson mask on the screen, and by watching it, and you always get that little gasp. And there was a noticeable gasp when people saw just how badly Roman was bleeding.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, again, as ridiculous as it was, I thought, oh, it's a cap, because it was so much blood. I thought he's just smashed. It's been smashed on his head. But the moment it keeps pissing out of his head when he turns to the side, he's like, oh, the fuck, that really is. And then it just drenches his arm and stuff. And for the match itself, it didn't make any sense, because he literally cuts him open and then delivers an F5 almost immediately. And then it's over.
Yeah. Well, it's like he sees his own blood. There was there was one decent camera shot where he looked like Carrie. He had the red face, red hair, because it was all over his fucking barnet.
Yeah.
And he speared him once. Then he actually goes for the Undertaker double run against the rope spear.
Yeah.
Yes, crisscross, exactly. And that's when I think he got the F5 and lost. But
that's what I thought. I wrote that down. Again, it's just for 30 seconds extra of this match, which it really didn't need ultimately, and it's just it boils down to the fact that obviously, yeah, blading sounds terrible in height. Like, if you explain to a sponsor, oh, by the way, our wrestlers carry a small piece of, razor blade underneath their taped, on their wrist sometimes. And to get the match heated, they'll cut themselves when they have a moment where the camera's off them and they've got their head ducked. But the alternative of that is, oh, by the way, we've got a guy who'll basically funnel the fuck out of you on your head and hope that you don't get concussed and splits you open.
Well, both times they've done it, it's been. I think it's been uncomfortably unnecessary.
You're asking someone to basically punch you to the point where or elbow you to the point where you bleed. That's far worse, in my opinion, than the person who's going to be bleeding being responsible for themselves and cutting themselves.
Yeah, and Roman appears to have got lucky out of this. Well, I say lucky. He did look dazed, but Randy
got full blown concussed. Yeah,
he was.
Randy was full blown concussed. I mean, they didn't have Roman wrestle the following night, maybe as a precautionary thing, but again, it's no place for it in this match at that level and that technique of doing it. If they really wanted to do it, they should have just fucking bladed. Yeah.
So apparently, another rumor. I like the whole rumor. This is what Dave Meltzer sells.
We're going to take this episode horrifically in 2 weeks' time, where it turns out Vince has just worked everyone over, and the argument was not an argument. But go on, what is it?
Well, I think the argument's probably a legit thing, because there was also a big thing with the pyro, wasn't there? There was no pyro at the end, and apparently when the cameras went off, WWE had loads and loads of pyro ready to go, and everyone was just shocked as they were leaving. They set off this massive pyro thing.
But they can't set off where Roman does his quiet walk to the back, and obviously Brock fucks off immediately after. He just
That's what I'm saying, yeah. So I think rumors are he called an audible, had Brock win because he didn't want it to end the way it was going to end. They argued over the way it ended and the blood. And another rumor is that this deal that Brock has signed to re-sign is very short term, may only be 2 or 3 dates, but the point of it is that he's going to finally drop the belt and put over Roman at the Saudi Arabia show in the cage match, which is now booked, because they'll very likely get a much better reaction now.
I can kind of see why, but
yeah,
WWE has always had this kind of weird mindset where they won't necessarily book what the crowd wants, because the famous quote of can't give the fans what they want all the time because they'll expect it all the time.
But also the quote where he says that he knows what they want and that they don't know what they want.
Yeah, exactly that. But Mania was the place. Similar to Wrestle Kingdom, Mania was for all intents and purposes in terms of booking the right decision to go with Roman. But instead, they've done a 180 and gone, fuck it, we'll go with Brock. And it's a combination, the match is a grand combination of disinterested fans who hate the way Roman's been booked for the last 5-6 years, and disinterested fans who might like Brock a tad more, but have also grown disinterested with him over the last 3 years, with the arguments that were made in the program building up to this, which is Brock is a part-timer and he doesn't give a shit about anything in terms of wrestling. He's here for a paycheck.
Yeah, no, you're right.
It was a bad main event to Mania. It was much worse than I thought it was going to be, and the result was infuriating. It's a sea of dread in terms of what the fuck's happening with Brock, because I thought this would be it. I thought we would be, well, at least we're in the Roman era, his coronation's happened and now we're still waiting.
Well, I think it might happen in Saudi Arabia now, so we'll have to just wait and see what happens in a couple of weeks.
Fingers crossed. I'm with you, big dog. I want you to win the fucking belt. You fully deserve it at this point. I know the other smarks and fans, will never forgive him, but he's not even the case of lesser of two evils. He's the better wrestler out of the two of them at the moment.
Yeah. Right. Well, there you go. Main event done and out the way. So let's run down the rest of the card.
Oh God.
Pre-show. Go for it.
Pre-show. Fuck. Okay. I'm going to keep this fucking quick. Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Obviously, Woken Matt Hardy was the victor in this, which saw him eliminate Mojo and who the fuck was it? Baron Corbin.
Yep.
Once Bray Wyatt returns and he's a face now. The match was pretty shit, to be brutally honest.
I thought it was total garbage. Yeah.
Yeah, it was basically a case of 10 minutes of various people grunting at the ropes for 10 minutes and, doing nothing. It was a bad match, and the only thing that matters, obviously, is the ending, which was decent.
Matt Hardy won.
Matt Hardy won. Second match was the WWE Cruiserweight Championship between Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali. I thought this was a good match.
Yeah, I didn't mind it.
I thought the build-up was good. Obviously, they've been having to recover from the Enzo Amore debacle. The match was good. I dare say that it probably deserved a spot on the actual card.
Maybe. There's a couple of matches it could have swapped for, I think.
That's true. Yeah,
Actually, there's one match it definitely could have swapped for.
Yeah, I think you know what you're talking about as well. Cedric Alexander is the new Cruiserweight champion. He nailed the lumbar check. He did cradle. It did seem like a big deal between the two. It felt like a sporting contest, and it made the belt seem a bit more elevated.
The emotional element, I thought, was wasted on the pre-show.
Yeah, but they've done this before. They did it with New Day and fucking Usos last year. Not at WrestleMania, obviously, but they did it at a pay-per-view where they had they tore the house down on fucking pre-show. And it's like, why have they done that on pre-show? But
yeah.
Again, both lads delivered. I liked Ali's costume. It was like Sub-Zero meets Iron Man. I thought it was pretty fucking cool. Again, it was wasted on pre-show. Really good match, though. Only negative point was second time that they cut to Cena's reaction, which was I was going to make a drinking game out of it because they kept fucking doing it over and over again.
I really liked the whole Cena in the crowd thing, pretending to drink it.
It got on my fucking nerves. I was trying to work out if it was beer or if it was like apple juice.
It looked like flat. It looked flat, so I don't know. But we only ever saw him holding it on camera, so who knows?
That's true. After this match, there's an interview with Cena, with Charlie Caruso. Cena says that he's getting annoyed with the camera keeps cutting to him and that they should focus on the performers in the ring. So fair fucks to him. Even he's aware of it.
Yep.
Your pre-show main event, and I've not come up with a fucking sponsor because it was a long show and I haven't got jokes. Sorry, folks. Is the formerly named Fabulous Moolah Memorial Battle Royal. It's the first ever WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal, which saw your favourite champion of all time, Reese, is the inaugural champion, Naomi.
Well, this was weird. Becky got an entrance, then everyone came out. Then Bayley came out. They went to a commercial during Bayley's entrance, and then came back halfway through Sasha Banks' entrance. It was very odd.
I've got the exact same thing. I've put what is it? Other guys didn't get an entrance. What a bunch of sexists. And then, okay, ignore that. Everybody's getting celebrated by Kid Rock. Still, what a bunch of sexists. And Bayley and Sasha have also got entrance. So everyone else looks really small fry.
Yeah, and talking of small fry, the inaugural WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal was won by someone who hid under the fucking ring for 3/4 of the match.
And I didn't even see her fucking exit, and I'm pointing that down at camera.
No, neither did I. I thought it was garbage. And also, as you know, I think she's boring and fucking rubbish anyway. So when that happened, I was annoyed. Especially when Bayley gets such shit booking, and they could have ended it on quite a story-driven booking decision with her chucking out Sasha. But no, they just had to give it to Naomi. I don't quite know why, nor do I particularly give a shit, really. But yeah, that was that. And there was a trailer for Paige's film during this, which I think there were 3 in total during this whole card. I think there was like 8 of them over the whole weekend. Total.
Oh God,
so garbage. I mean, I reckon the film might be quite funny, but
I know, but they could have showed something different. It was just like, "Hey guys, Paige here. Here's The Rock," and it's like, okay, that's quite funny. And then it's
yeah, what is it's literally. This film is about my life, so here's The Rock talking for 45 seconds straight. Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, because we don't have any confidence in Paige. You know, she's not the draw of this bit. It's The Rock, which is quite disparaging. Speaking of Paige, I really liked her commentary in this match.
I thought it was really quite funny and witty.
Yeah, she's like you probably hear this more at the terraces. Gobby birds at football.
Yeah, it was. It was quite good. It was very.
That's not harsh at all. I thought she was a real good character. I would dare say if they have women's matches, like have her commentate. I thought she was really good.
I agree. I thought she was quite funny. The way I thought she did quite well with Cole. Like Cole would she was quite heelish in a comedic way as well. It was quite fun.
Yeah, I remember more about her than I do of Beth Phoenix, who It was okay, passable. But
But isn't Beth Phoenix still doing her Hall of Fame speech from last year?
everyone's just letting her rattle on.
What a
It's
dull,
never
dull speech that was.
25 years later.
Are you? Is that the pre-show? Are we done with the pre-show?
Yeah, to be perfectly honest, it was 2 hours and about an hour and a half of it was dedicated to the same warm up. Sorry, not warm up. The pre-match packages that were on the pay-per-view.
And
Interspersed with interviews, which was exactly the same bollocks you hear all the time.
and trying to give away their biggest, most lucrative show of the year for free.
Hey guys, did you hear WrestleMania is free?
Fucking garbage.
It's free. Yeah, for
I
new
suppose
subscribers.
I
The rest of
suppose
us.
I suppose it did work because they did announce yesterday that they're over 2 million subscribers now. But I think the paid number is 1.8 million. But it's up quite. It's up.
That's still
it's
quite
up like-
impressive.
It's up 10% from this time last year. So yeah, it is impressive.
Yeah, no fair play to them.
1.8 million paid, and then they're up to 2.1 million with 300 freebies at the moment. 300,000 freebies.
That'll keep the stockholders happy.
Well, yeah, quite.
But yeah, that was pre-show, man. I'll trying to keep it short and sweet. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. Right. Well, we move on to the main card. I was just going to say, there's some matches on here that, quite frankly, complete bollocks and boring. So perhaps we don't need to dwell on a lot of it. But the opening match, in hindsight, is one of the best matches on the whole card, where The Miz defended his IC title against Seth Rollins and Finn Balor. I thought this was a wonderful way to open what started off as a really, really good WrestleMania.
Yeah, I fully agree. It was this match was deceptive. It was a really good triple threat. All three guys looked very impressive.
I like the entrances too. So Seth as the White Walker, Balor as the LGBTQ king, and the Miz seemed to do like a face turn during his entrance as well, which I thought was odd. But I don't know if that's backed up on Raw. But
no,
he told, yeah, exactly.
He gave me a reason as to why he sent the Miz Taraj backstage, but I didn't like his headband. I didn't get that. But
no, it was a good match, good spots. I thought actually all three guys looked really good during the match, and
yeah, just same as I just said that.
There was a moment where all three had the match kind of won, and they all looked no one looked weak out of it. So the Miz actually looked quite good, and he had stages where he was controlling it quite a lot. And I quite like The Miz. I know there's people like Alvarez and Meltzer that try and do shit on him every chance they get, but I'm quite a fan.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's a safe hand. He's had very good matches previously, especially with Ziggler. That whole Intercontinental title feud.
Yeah,
I think he's a solid hand. I think he's a good little technical wrestler. He obviously is the weakest participant in this match, but in terms of charisma and delivering programs, he's been solid for fucking years now. So, and he was good in this match.
Yeah, and I think, well, yeah. So Seth did win. He won with a curb stomp, which is a great move, and I'm glad that they've got it back on TV now. Well, back on the show now with him doing the pedigree and that silly Rainmaker knee just didn't. When you know that he used to do the curb stomp, it just didn't sit right, did it?
Yeah, it was just like diluting from something much better.
Yeah. So yeah, curb stomp for the win. I believe Raw afterwards set up that Rollins is going to defend it against The Miz at Backlash, and then Finn will be the next in line for the IC title. That's the next feud, which really that sets up a good month or two of IC title feuds. I mean, Seth against Finn 1-on-1 we've seen it before. It is rather good. So
that's the only point of contention that it has been done, and I'm concerned it might be done to death by the time that.
Well, it's only one match.
Well, they had the Universal title match previously. They've had They've been involved in various tag team matches as well. They have interacted quite a lot over the last 2 months or so, but that's just maybe me. So,
yeah. Well, it should be interesting nonetheless.
I just wanted to mention as well, when Seth won and they announced he's a Grand Slam champion, Coach flubbed and said Seth has never had a WrestleMania moment. and then quickly realizes how stupid it was and says, "In this particular building."
Exactly, yeah. So,
Guy
yeah,
who stole
yeah.
the guy who stole the WrestleMania main event in 3 years ago never had a moment.
It's a good point actually that I was nearly forgot. He is now a Grand Slam champion, and he is the last of the Shield members to achieve such a feat.
Yeah, shocking, really,
Yeah.
really, considering he was the first world champion out of all three.
Yeah, and it kind of makes you miss Dean Ambrose a bit, really, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. He's sorely missed at this point. I'm
Yeah,
hoping he's coming back sooner rather than later.
in a high on the card spot, I hope. Yeah,
Pow, you're going for the US title.
yeah. Does he hold the record for the longest US title reign?
I think so. I think he does, actually. Yeah.
He does. Well, moving on, we get to Charlotte vs Asuka for the SmackDown Women's title. What did you think of this?
I thought it was great.
It was great.
Absolutely great. Yeah, I thought it was great. I would dare say it's probably the second best match of this pay-per-view.
Yep, I'd probably subscribe to that. Yeah.
Either that or the triple threat previous. But I thought this was great.
I had a feeling that the match was going to end the way it did based on Charlotte's entrance. I just thought it was incredibly grand and incredibly big and quite impressive, and I just thought, wonder what they're going to do here. This seems quite a big deal, especially when you got Ronda on the card. So, with that in mind, the match was Charlotte Flair won via submission with her figure eight to retain the SmackDown Women's title and to snap Asuka's streak, which is again, I think that's quite a big surprise.
Yeah, I agree. I said on the our previous, I think it must have been Elimination Chamber. I said I was 30% sure Asuka would win, and obviously then we'd have the undefeated streak continue.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, I thought that they would keep her. I thought Asuka would win. I think they'd keep her strong. I think they'd go with Rousey as an undefeated, strong competitor, and that would be a match to maybe book at WrestleMania 35. But I think the way they're going is Charlotte against Rousey, and again, rumor mill churning that might even Charlotte and Rousey might even try and get it as the main event for next year's WrestleMania.
I'd be more than happy for that. I mean, again, as I think I've mentioned on the previous review for Elimination Chamber, Charlotte is a credible person to have broke the streak.
Yeah, 100%.
At least it's, and the other good thing as well is Asuka's streak undefeated long. At least it's gone to a homegrown talent as such. So you always have the element of, oh shit, they're giving it to the part-timer from the UFC, which is exactly what happened with the last undefeated streak that was at WrestleMania in New Orleans.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
More than happy. I thought the match was very good. Charlotte looks phenomenal in this fucking match. Probably the best match she's had for quite some time, although she's not really had any truly bad matches for forever. She looked incredibly strong. Asuka looked tenacious, as she always does. But it was definitely a case of Charlotte was the better woman in this match, and that was the story that was told. Even when she had her arm completely disabled, she was still able to pull off the figure eight, even with 3 limbs working, and she just managed to pull it off. And I thought it was a very well told story.
Yeah, quite a well worked match. I thought they were quite aggressive, not in a bad way, but I thought it was quite hard hitting.
There was moves as well.
Yeah.
There was the Spanish fly by Charlotte from the top rope, which was like, Jesus fucking Christ, that looked terrifying. But it was when you look at with all Charlotte high spots, watch the replay, like, oh, that's quite safe. But it's just, yeah, no, I've got no other things to really say. I really enjoyed this match. I thought the aftermath was great as well.
Yeah, I thought it was all right. It was cool. There was no cash in, which I'm glad for.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think after you have the, Asuka cuts a promo saying, she was ready and all that stuff, I think having Carmella come out would have probably dulled it a bit.
Mm.
But no, I thought it was good. I thought, as well as considering the SmackDown Women's Championship is the newest of the two of them, it did establish it as a very big-time belt.
Yeah, no, I agree, actually. I hadn't thought of that, but you're right there.
But yeah, no, really liked it. Yeah, again, probably second best match of this whole pay-per-view. So thumbs up from me. Yeah,
thumbs up from me too. this is the moment. This is the moment where the referee comes out and tells John Cena that something's happening.
He's
Someone's
here.
here.
He's here. Really? He's
And
here.
Cena, the way Cena runs,
Oh,
runs up.
Christ.
Cena runs up the ramp, creating hundreds and hundreds of memes as he goes.
It's like he's just the master of memes. It's him and that shrinking face one.
Oh yeah, I
Fucking
love that. Yeah,
I love that one as well. But him running and he blitzes past Charlotte as well, going up the ramp. It's so fucking good.
yeah. And then there's that quite a good moment actually when both Charlotte and Asuka look at each other and kind of laugh at Cena
Yeah.
running up the ramp. I thought that was quite
He's
funny.
like Malcolm Tucker in the thick of it. He does the silly run.
Tinker Teen La Soldier Cunt.
We could do a podcast on that. The thick of it. Anyway.
Yeah, no. So that happened, and I suppose all considering we then had the US title. This is one of those matches where I couldn't. I think very forgettable match. Randy Orton defending his US title against Jinder Mahal, Bobby Roode, and Rusev. This was just meh for me.
This was an obvious piss break.
Oh yeah, there's quite a few piss breaks in this card.
Yeah, but this was the first major noticeable one. I thought this was an all right match, to be fair. I didn't expect much from it all. It had all the stereotypical tropes of any multi-person matches where it's like, shit, we can have two people wrestling, the other two have to roll out the ring at some point and then switch partners and then vice versa. It wasn't long, which was, I think, a deciding factor in this match being good or truly bad. It was just short.
Yeah, agreed.
Mahal winning... I don't know what to fucking think, to be honest. That the US title does not seem like big fry at the moment at all.
No, it doesn't, does it? Not at all. Not since. Has it been Big Fry since Cena? Is it Cena that did the US title challenge? That was good. Actually, Roman do it?
Roman made it good, yeah.
Yeah,
But that was ages ago.
yeah. This was rubbish. I mean, it was, and also fucking Jinder won. Well, what's the name of? What's the name of his? Was it Half Nelson Slam? What's it called?
Colossus.
Yeah, did he do it on Rusev? Is that right?
I believe so, yeah.
So he does that on Rusev, wins the match, but it was via that one of the Singh brothers got up on the apron and caused the interference, which led to it. It's just I remember watching it, just going, they can't even make in an 8-minute match at WrestleMania. They can't even have him win any other fucking way except for an interference from one of the Singh brothers.
The Reese, we've booked him as the chicken shit, and that'll get the fans rolled up because every time, one of the the Singh brothers, this case Sunil, comes up and it ruins it, and then, the chase continues. Think of the money we're going to make, Reese. Think of the money.
Total garbage. Anyway,
Think of the rupees, Reese.
Let's move on from that, I think.
Yeah. I thought it was okay. At least it was short.
Yeah, it was okay. Yeah, it's 8 minutes long, so yeah, you're right. This was followed by a Fashion Files advert for Snickers, which I thought was quite funny.
That's what I've literally put that verbatim in my fucking notes.
30 seconds long, I thought it was quite funny.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. No complaints. Fancy a Snickers.
And this was followed by for me, match of the card. And I'm going to guess for you. Yeah, Christ, yeah. Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey against Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. This was fantastic.
Yeah, there's no easy way of fucking saying this. I've gone from the Royal Rumble where I was like, oh my god, this fucking woman is going to ruin everything. So now WrestleMania going, please for fuck's sake save this company, Ronda Rousey. it needs saving.
I just thought that this just hit every single note it had to perfectly. There's a lot of people that it seems to have bored some people's piss that Stephanie McMahon was able to defend Ronda Rousey's lethal armbar better than every professional MMA athlete. Yeah, I thought it was perfect.
Wrestling, not fucking
exactly.
Pro wrestling. They're not watching shoot fighting, because if this was shoot fighting, then Triple H and Kurt Angle would probably knock out both women and then continue to have a fight.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I thought it was perfect. Also, she's a McMahon. She needs to look strong at some point, and I think we all accept that. I thought it was great. I thought everyone kind of had their role in the match, and it was great.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. There is no way of saying it other than the fact that it's probably the best mixed tag match in WrestleMania history, from which it has some sterling competition. I say that
It
with full
was.
sarcasm. I know, well.
Mm.
But everyone looked great. Ronda herself was obviously the major talking point. Just was fantastic. Everything she did got heat. Everything, every, you know, facial expression, everything done to perfection. I can't rave about it enough. I've never been more happy to be wrong about something in my entire fucking life about pro wrestling.
The build to her first hot tag was really good, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
And all the while, Stephanie McMahon is just absolutely goating up being the greatest heel of all time.
She does everything you can possibly do in a fucking tag match to get heat for a hot tag, where she drags fucking
Yeah.
off the apron, she delivers cheap blows. It's almost as if Stephanie McMahon has spent her whole life in the wrestling business and actually knows a bit about wrestling, despite the fact that we always think that she doesn't. But you know,
Yeah, I thought it was great. There was a nice little nod to last year's WrestleMania as well, when Hunter nearly knocks Steph off the apron. That was
oh
quite.
yeah, yeah, that
They
was
both
good.
like kind of look at each other and kind of, oh, calm down, calm down. I thought that was quite funny. Yeah, the hot tag was great. Ronda and Steph was quite funny. Ronda sold a bit for Steph, which again people seemed annoyed by, but I thought, fucking hell, you got to have. She's going to be a huge baby face for a little while. Well, for the foreseeable, I think. But so you got to have the baby face in peril because that's just what baby faces do. I thought it was done quite well. Steph defended a few armbar attempts. Triple H sold for Ronda, which I thought was great.
I was
Yeah,
thinking for bits of this match, especially towards the end. I thought because I remember you mentioning saying you can see Triple H tapping out to Ronda, and I thought, shit, that might actually fucking happen the way he keeps
yeah,
going back because he just
I thought it would. Yeah,
as soon as he starts taking some of those punches and he just runs immediately to the corner, I was like, fucking hell, he's gonna be the one to tap.
mm.
But
Yeah. I think Stephanie stopped it. Then Kurt made his comeback. You know, got his spots in, angle slam, pulled down his straps, got an ankle lock on Steph, which I thought was an odd, funny little spot. I think he got pedigreed then soon after. Rousey stopped a pin. Uh,
yep.
the first of a couple "This is awesome" chants erupted from the crowd. Triple H was gonna pedigree Rousey,
Yeah, I've got that. Yeah. That
which
fucking
which
Hurricanrana.
well, the Hurricanrana was good, but it was kind of like she was in a pedigree position and then somehow ended up in a powerbomb position. So that was a little bit odd.
Maybe
But
she
yeah,
watched
it
that
was
first
good.
pedigree. The botch, really bad one where the bloke thinks Triple H is going to do a tiger bomb, and he jumps
Oh
up, and
yeah.
then Triple H just lands him right on his fucking skull. She's probably like, I could just go up a bit higher and then just fucking do him with an Hurricanrana.
Mm. Yeah, Hurricanrana from Rousey on Triple H, which I thought was great. I think Hunter solved that really well.
Yeah.
That's when she slaps on an armbar. Stephanie stops it. She sticks an armbar on Stephanie, whilst I think, yeah, so she's got an armbar on Stephanie. Angle puts an ankle lock on Triple H. There's a reversal. Another set of "This is awesome" chants. There was a double pedigree spot when they were both going to get pedigreed, but I think they both reversed it at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Rousey, they do a big thing with "I've got your arm." You know, there's a bit where she, very pro wrestling, she's about to extend the arm and she looks at Steph and says, "You're going to be sorry." Pulls the arm back. Stephanie taps, does the job, does good business, as some might say, and Rousey and Angle win via submission. This was fucking brilliant.
Yeah, fantastic. Hit on all cylinders, and the crowd loved it, which I think helped immensely as well.
Yeah, it was the second. It was the longest match on the card. 20 minutes 40 seconds.
Didn't fucking feel it. It felt like it
No, it
flew.
didn't, did it?
No, it didn't. It flew by, in my opinion. I thought this was again fantastic. There's no easy way of describing it. If you've not seen this match for whatever reason, do so. It's definitely worth the watch.
It was. It was great. I've actually got quite a lot of optimism around Ronda Rousey now.
So have I. Again, I've never been happier to be wrong about something in professional wrestling, and I'm very much looking forward to what they're planning to do with her.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. So now we enter. Well, maybe not quite yet. Maybe the end of the next match is when we start the real downturn of this Mania card. So John Cena in his gear comes out.
No, you've
Uh,
missed the match. You've missed the match.
have I missed a match?
You've missed the fucking match, Reese.
What have I missed?
You've missed the triple team tag team match for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships.
Oh God, you know what? I don't even have notes for that. Does that not just prove how insanely? Is that not just? Does that not prove how insanely forgettable it was?
I thought this was all right. Do you want me to go through this quick?
Go on, quickly run through it. Because
Okay,
I haven't got any notes for it.
that's all right. Our teams involved in A New Day, the Bludgeon Brothers and Champions Usos. Woods plays the fucking Dragonzord theme from Power Rangers to summon
Yeah.
little people dressed as pancakes. I've said John Walters has obviously directed this entire entrance.
I do remember this entrance. Yeah.
Despite trying to take the Bludgeon Brothers out early, the pair take out everyone. Woods interferes since it's no DQ and also gets battered with a bomb into a post. I've put there's going to be way too much bollocks happening to cover here. Despite the action being pretty good, the crowd is noticeably dead from previous match. Tower of Terror spot cancelled by Rowan. Harper is still perched on the rope. Kofi springs to the top but gets thrown down and then power bombed by Rowan. Avalanche sit down powerbomb with an assist by Rowan, and we have new tag team champions. Match was short and sweet. Could argue it was actually a squash.
5 minutes 50 seconds. Yeah, that's very short.
It was harmless. It was obvious from this match as to who was going to fucking win, considering the previous build-up on Elimination Chamber again. Bludgeon Brothers look great. Looking forward to what they do with the tag team titles. So, did the job, yeah. No complaints, really.
Yeah, I suppose it gets them all on the card, right?
Exactly that, yeah. Obviously, a bit of hilarious in hindsight, considering that the Usos have said, we've been missed off the Mania card for God knows how many fucking years, and yet their only Mania appearance thus far is getting butchered, but I'm sure the paycheck helps.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. Right, yeah, you're right. I completely missed that off, so thank you for covering.
No worries. Now you get to talk about John Cena. Real main event.
Back to our regular scheduled programming. John Cena comes out and looks as though The Undertaker's turned up, but no. The lights go down, a strum of the guitar, and Elias is on the stage with his guitar and his Britney Spears microphone.
Did you recognise the song, Reese?
Didn't he do the House of the Rising Sun?
He did a very bad version of House of the Rising Sun.
Considering he's in front of 78,000 people and he's walking whilst he's playing it, I didn't think it was that bad.
All right.
I wish he actually sang it. That would have been quite good.
I would have liked that, but I reckon the fucking royalties from that. Although it is the Animals, and they've let every fucker on earth cover that song, so
They're English, aren't they, the Animals?
I think so. Yeah. Edit
Oh.
that if it's wrong.
But right, yeah. So Elias comes out instead. Cena, dejected, goes and sits back in his seat. Elias trolls him a little bit more. So Cena comes in and squashes him. And just as Cena starts walking up the ramp, sad, every single person watching at home and every single person in the stadium is just waiting for it. And all of a sudden the lights go down and the gongs come and Undertaker rises through the smoke. And every single one of us watching at home and every single person in the stadium is marking out because it's fucking awesome.
You forgot the lightning bolt bit as well. Remember?
Yeah, that was weird.
Let's go out. The fucking hat and coat are in the ring, and then fireworks go off for the live crowd, and lightning goes off for us watching on the network, and then lights go back out, and then it's disappeared again.
Yeah,
it's very fantastique, as they would say. But I loved it.
It was great. I was a big fan. So yeah, he Undertaker's here. And they go at it for, I think, God,
2 minutes.
2 minutes 45 seconds.
A match 10 years build up, dream match.
The Undertaker squashes John Cena in 2 minutes 45 seconds at WrestleMania in a match that some people before the event were saying should be the main event.
some people that are the two people that you're listening to.
Well, yeah, I'm certainly one of them. He just beats him up at the start.
He squashes him.
He hits
He
an old
squashes him.
he hits an old school. I think there was a little bit of resistance. There's a little bit of resistance to a choke slam, which Cena turned into a shoulder tackle. Goes for a 5-knuckle shuffle. Um, Undertaker sits up. John Cena shits his pants by the looks of it. And yeah, choke slam. Does his throat slitting spot and tombstone for the 3. I was visibly shocked at this result, and I don't know what it means, but there's a few theories. It's either Undertaker might be fit enough to do a little run, or he's not fit enough to do a run. Therefore, Cena actually gave him a huge amount of respect and let him have some kind of farewell. Or Cena's off for 3 months to film some stuff, and these two are going to go at it fully at SummerSlam, which I think could be. I think that could be that's the ticket right there.
That would make sense. He looks good, Taker. It's
He
quite
looked all
scary.
right.
It's amazing how a full hip replacement can fucking turn you around in your wrestling career.
But Cena's got to be off TV for ages now, right? I can't see him. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd imagine so, unless he comes out tonight on SmackDown and he's like, hey guys, he beat my ass, but fuck it.
Yeah, I'm John Cena, therefore I want a title shot. That's usually yeah. Yeah, no, it was
fucking jinxed it there.
It was interesting, and it was The Undertaker at WrestleMania, and he did kind of get his win back in the venue where he lost the streak. Which that's actually something I forgot to mention earlier with the Asuka streak. That's twice a very big streak has been ended in that building.
Yeah, they mentioned that as well. They did say, which we should have really have guessed from the build up towards that particular match. Going like, oh, they probably could kill the streak.
No one called that actually. Funnily enough,
no, us included. What a bunch of hacks.
Yeah. So Undertaker, another WrestleMania moment for him.
Did you like this match? If you call squash, did you like this squash?
I've got written here. I either loved it or I hated it. I still don't know to this day.
That's fucking flip floppy.
But I don't know. It's just
you've had half a day's sleep on it now. You can surely. Does it leave a kind of taste? Or you like?
I kind of liked it.
I really liked it. I know it sounds probably. I think in any other circumstance, I'd be like, oh, for fuck's sake, and. Considering that again, it's been built up for fucking years and years and years, and it's probably a decade too late at this point. But I thought it did the job. Taker looked great. If it does build up to more matches, then big thumbs up. It was a fucking stacked card, and I can spare 2 minutes of my life watching Cena get beaten up. I think most people can. But, I really enjoyed it. Taker looked really good. Cena was, fair fucks to him, whatever this leads to.
Yeah, it was interesting. Let's just say that.
It was interesting. It was very similar to, because I'm going through all my 2007 shit, it's very similar to their bloody or Raw Homecoming or Raw Super Show match, which goes on for about 2 minutes and it gets fucked over by outside interference at the end. It almost hit the exact same repeat like spots. It was quite funny how close they are together. But again, no real complaints. I thought this was good.
Okay, yes, me too. This was followed by some Hall of Fame nonsense when they do their little thing, which is cool, I guess. And that was followed by Daniel Bryan's in-ring return with Shane McMahon against Owens and Zayn. If Owens and Zayn lose, they're off. They're very clearly stated, wasn't it, that they are gone from SmackDown, not WWE.
Yeah. For you idiots that can't see what's going to happen, obviously.
Yeah, this was an odd match, I thought. Kind of Bryan got this great pop. I mean, everyone knew it was coming. He got this great reaction, and then they were Pearl Harbored by Owens and Zayn, the Dastardly Hills. He got apron bombed, and then you didn't see him for 10 minutes.
I think it's quite obvious at this point that Daniel Bryan's recovery was not really planned until he was given the full go ahead by doctor. So obviously he's still not fully ring ready as such.
Yeah, I can see that. He did look like he was in okay shape, but I know that there's a difference between being in shape and being ring shape.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, so this match went 15 minutes, and for 10 minutes of that, Brian was being put on being put on a stretcher, and
You doing it wrong and you're wrong.
the 5 minutes he was in it, it was actually the most entertaining element of it. Shane McMahon, I think, needs to stop doing these matches. I'm just getting a bit. I love Shane McMahon, and he's obviously entertained us so much in the last 15 years or whatever. But Christ, it's just he's physically he looked physically unwell. He looked out of shape. There's a lot of I don't know whether or not he has diverticulitis or I
It's a
think
very
the hernia.
strange angle to go with if he doesn't, because diverticulitis is a fucking very serious bowel
Well,
disease if you've got it.
it nearly killed Brock Lesnar. So yeah,
Yeah,
nearly killed a
exactly.
lot of people. It's just really weird. And I think this match was okay, but I think Shane McMahon being on his own for 10 minutes is what kind of brought it down a bit. But again, Brian got a great pop. His 5 minutes in the match was entertaining, and obviously he gets the victory. He hits Sammy with the flying knee, and then puts on the yes lock, and they win by submission.
Yeah.
Owens and Zayn are gone from SmackDown.
And I've put here, looks like Owen and Zayn are off to Raw.
Well, they have a match
Which
on
they
Raw.
did.
Yeah, so they're off to Raw. I thought it was all right.
What, this match or the Owen Zayn's match from Raw?
This match we're talking about now, I thought it was all. I think it was all right. If it wasn't for Daniel Bryan, I think it would have been dreadful.
I agree, but I thought the match did what it needed to do, and it was good. Considering Shane is injured and Bryan is obviously not in full ring shape yet, as we've said.
Yeah,
I thought the match, I think people that were fully expecting Daniel Bryan to basically wrestle for 25 minutes, put on a fucking clinic right out of their minds. It's obvious he's not fully fit. I thought the match did exactly what it needed to do. It was some good action involved. Zayn and Owens are just still diabolical. Their act is still entertaining as fuck, even though we're months into this.
yeah,
I thought this was really good. I had no complaints. It felt like an actual really big deal, and the end result. What do you call it? It had a nice feel good moment. Daniel celebrates with Brie. Shane spends most of the time celebrating and then holding his stomach because he's obviously in absolute fucking agony. And he puts over
yeah.
Daniel as well, which I thought was a nice culmination of their ongoing story where they've been quite uneasy for months on end. Again, I thought it ticked all boxes.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're right. And welcome back, Daniel Bryan. It's great to see him back wrestling.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I'm fantasy booking wise. I would dare say Miz surely is going to SmackDown on the Superstar Shake-Up next week, and there must be building up towards that because it's the
Yeah,
money feud.
it'd be great if Brian requests him back. Like he's
I'd
the one
love
who
that.
does. If there was some kind of thing where they do the trade, and Miz is like, "What? I've been to SmackDown. Why do they want me back?" And then it pans to Brian just looking at him like, "I'm gonna fucking tear your head off." That
Yeah.
would be money.
And then what you could do as well is ever schmoz thing where Miz is like, you know what? Nah, I've got stuff to do. I've got paternity leave. I'll come back when I need to come back and just build up towards a bigger show, like maybe SummerSlam or something. Make
Could
up some
do.
bollocks.
Get Rusev in to do a newborn baby daughter on a pole match. They've got that in common.
Oh no! Have a fucking 6-person tag team match with the kids, the wives, and the fans.
Oh god, that'd be horrible.
And then eventually bring the kids in to determine a belt so they can take away Nicholas's tag team title.
Oh fuck, we'll get to that. Don't
We'll
worry.
get to that. I did put a note on here. I've put it on Twitter as well, which is 2 hours to go. This is on par with one of the better manias, unless it all goes wrong now.
I do think this is where it drastically started to go wrong. I think part of this match is to do with it as well.
I disagree. It's not this match and it's not the next match. It's the match after, but I'll explain why. I don't think it was this. But anyway.
Well, before the next match, there was another fucking sneak peek at Paige's film.
It feels really harsh making jokes about her now that she's
We're
retired.
not making jokes about her. We're making jokes about her shit. This fucking
It's
terrible
not
snippet
her.
they've used for a film.
Fucking not
Exactly.
her. Someone in the booth, same cunt who decided to play a Ronda Rousey warm up package during the Cruiserweight Championship. That
Yeah.
cunt needs to be fired, and I hope it's Kevin Dunn.
Yeah. Well, he's never getting fired, and
No.
there's stories about why he won't get fired as well.
I think he will though when
Oh,
Vince
when
Vince passes.
when Triple H is in charge, he's gone. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a dead cert.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kevin.
He had something like $20 million worth of stock, so he's fine. Don't worry about Beaver Tooth Kevin Dunn.
I can't believe you mentioned my fucking teeth.
Right, so next match was Alexa Bliss defending her Raw Women's title against Nia Jax in what I can only call the sequel to Mean Girls.
I'm trying to think. It's like Be a Star. This match is Be a Star embodied into a match.
Yeah, so Alexa makes fun of Nia. Nia has a wobble. Nia goes for revenge. And Nia gets revenge and wins the Raw Women's title via pinfall. I think was it an Avalanche Samoa drop she won with?
Yes, it is. Yeah, second
Yeah.
rope.
Really enjoyed the bit at the start when obviously Bliss comes out with Mickie James, who, funnily enough, is another victim of her bullying. So obviously Nia Jax is going to be mates with Alexa Bliss in a few months. So she absolutely ragdolls her and beats the shit out of her. So she's taken out the equation.
I was going to say as well, it's hilarious because Mickey, as you say, was not only bullied by Alexa, but about 10 years ago was also bullied for being fat.
Yeah, weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it's weird as how the company's seemingly turned a corner on the body shaming, to use that pathetic fucking term. But
yeah, this match is where my WrestleMania fatigue started kicking in.
oh, this match, okay. I think
This is where I was kind of like,
the crowd was a bit fucked as well. I like this match though. Again, I thought this was a solid match.
Yeah, it was okay. It did the job. It was 10 minutes long actually, so it actually got a decent amount of time.
I thought again because it's a bit of a weird perspective because obviously Alexa is the smaller of the two, and she's the heel, so she has to play the diabolical girl who keeps. All she does for her entire match is poke Nia's eyes at. Although she does hit a good Twisted Bliss at one point as well.
To the outside, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
it was good.
Yeah. It was. Yeah.
And Nia, who's being bigger, but is the face. But I thought this was perfectly serviceable, if not good. I thought that it told the story it needed to tell again, as they say. And Nia came across good. It's nice to see WWE doing a bullying storyline where the bully does get their comeuppance at the end.
Yep. Well, it's WrestleMania. They needed to have an end to some of these fucking angles, didn't they?
Exactly that. Yeah. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed this match. I thought it was good. I was not as fatigued as you were, and the crowd was. But then again, I wasn't up at what time was this? At 4 o'clock in the morning.
This is like 4 a.m. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, obviously not for the American fans, but they have probably sat there for fucking ages.
This would be hour 6.
Okay, that's quite depressing.
It is quite depressing.
No. Mania does not. I mean, that's a discussion for another fucking point. But anyway, no, I thought this was a good match. So to repeat your point, this was a good match.
Nia Jax wins the Raw Women's title and gets a hug from The Rock's mum and daughter at the end as well, which I thought was nice.
That was nice, yeah. Again, it was a nice feel-good moment for WrestleMania, which is exactly what it should be. It should be a culmination of stories. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, this was followed by probably the IWC's most anticipated match.
The dream match, Reese. The dream match. It can't fail. It can't fail.
The more they kept calling it the dream match, the more I was really worried about this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it just felt forced, and yeah.
Because the last time the WWE mentioned the dream match, Reese, I think you'll find it was Finn Balor and AJ Styles, and we all agree it was the greatest match of all time.
Yeah, Dave Meltzer ruined his legacy by not giving it 25 stars, apparently.
All the stars in the universe. How dare you, Dave? How dare you critique it?
So AJ Styles defending his WWE Championship against Nakamura in a rematch of their Wrestle Kingdom 10 Classic. And
Is it 10 or
this
11? Sorry, man, I
10,
don't know.
10.
10.
Wrestle
I will
Kingdom
take your
11
word.
is Carter and Omega.
Hey, look, this is why you're the New Japan guy. Wait, before, fuck, what was this year's Wrestle Kingdom? I'm really showing
12.
myself up now. Right, there you
12.
go. Edit that, cut that.
Mm.
The internet can't
So
know I'm completely stupid.
so I started before this match started. I was just kind of, please let this be good. Please let this be good. Please let this be good. The entrances were quite good. Nakamura's entrance was pretty great, I thought.
I thought it was magic. I
Yeah,
thought
it
it was
was.
fantastic for a performance. And like
And
yourself as well, I was like, as long as it's like the Wrestle Kingdom match with a WWE crowd that's really hot, it's probably going to be the best match of the fucking year.
well, the thing was, I thought even if they just like did it a little bit, not as much. I mean, the Wrestle Kingdom match is really hard hitting and aggressive and New Japan style, as you know, strong style. I didn't think they'd go like that, but I just thought if they can just the intensity and the work rate perhaps of that match, if they could maybe get anywhere near that, it would be really good. And I felt really let down by this match, to be perfectly honest with you.
I thought this match was shit.
Yeah, I thought it was really quite crap, and I don't. I think technically it was really good. I think it was the actual technical side of pro wrestling. I thought it was good, but I just thought it was a bit slow.
Yeah,
It was kind of lacking. It was just lacking the sizzle, as you always say. It was certainly lacking that, and I thought, the finish came about just as it started to get good.
I fully
You
agree.
know, yeah.
This was a match where the pacing absolutely killed it. Both guys were doing, some good technical action, but it went to a fucking crawl. It felt like it went on for an age.
Yeah, and I think you could feel it started off with dueling AJ Styles, Nakamura. The match actually started off with a decent. I think the crowd picked themselves up. As we mentioned earlier, they're about 6 hours into this show, but I think they kind of picked themselves up a little bit for this, and it started off quite well. And then the atmosphere was just sapped out of them because the pacing was just it was just boring at some points. And again, technically good. The moves were good. The wrestling was crisp at some points, and it was fine, but it just really, really, really didn't live up to its hype. And then obviously the post match angle. This is WrestleMania. This isn't where you set up fucking feuds and set up storylines. This is where you end it. So
I
obviously they're
disagree.
both.
They have done this before with Triple H at WrestleMania 15, where he turned heel. Where he joined the corporation. It is you can have major changes take place at WrestleMania, but obviously
Yeah, I'm not sure.
the season finale as such.
I'm not sure. The dream match should have been. I don't think that should have been the launching point for these
No,
angles.
I agree with that. I think they should have had a high octane first match and then build towards the heel turn with obviously a rematch. But instead, they've kind of skipped that bit entirely and gone for a fucking post match angle afterwards, which again I don't mind. And I can't tell if it's a case of they really want to build towards this Nakamura heel character, so they'll have a shit match at WrestleMania to justify it. But this match was just shit. It lacked transitions. It lacked pace. Its placement on the card, it had enough. I mean, you had the women's title match before, which was fine. You've had enough time, enough breathers previous because of the pacing of the show. They had
Yeah.
enough time as well to actually do something of. I've been joking for months, going like, oh no, they're going to get about 15 minutes. I would have probably settled for. I mean, how long was this match ultimately?
18 minutes. No, sorry, 20 minutes, 20 seconds.
Well, not too far off. I mean, I would have settled.
Second longest on the card.
It didn't need to be that long. It really
Yeah,
didn't.
I looked. I looked this up actually. Their lauded classic at Wrestle Kingdom 10 was only 24 minutes.
That's what I
You
mean.
know,
So this was only 5 minutes shorter, but it felt like a fucking age. I mean, I would dare say. I mean, two questions: is this Do you think this is the worst match on the card, or would you think that belongs to?
It's not the worst match on the card. I think it's the biggest dud on the card.
It's the
Like in
most
terms of
disappointing.
yeah. So I think it's the biggest dud on the card. I'd say technically it was a better match than Lesnar and Reigns. Technically,
Yeah,
I think it's a better match than I think technically it's a better match than quite a few. It could have been better. They built it up to be better than it was, and though I am a fan of heel Nakamura, I think that might be a good way for him to a good use of him actually, especially if they let him also be a tad more aggressive because his style isn't. The way he wrestles isn't actually a way of. It's not a face wrestling style. If you watch him and Sammy in that his NXT debut, where they're kind of both faces, I know, but it's a blur. It's a bit blurred. The lines are blurred, and they both waffle the shit out of each other. And
pretty much.
Yeah, and it's done in a really aggressive fashion. I don't think many people since have got that out of Nakamura, and I think if they let him just be a dastardly bastard heel where he really waffles people with knees and kicks and whatnot and goes dirty, I think that might help get him over again. Well, he's over. That's not what we said. He's over, but might help rebuild character. I personally think that he's gone heel. He'll heel his way into another title shot. He'll probably win the belt at Backlash, and he'll have a heel title run where AJ, Brian, and if there's loads of fucking faces on SmackDown. AJ and Brian. Yeah,
I thought I said maybe Nakamura's heel turn will help SmackDown's heel situation, but obviously again we've got Superstar Shake Up next week, so we have no idea if he'll still even be there. But I remain optimistic. I mean, but the match itself was just shit. And I would dare say that this was the moment where the show kind of went like off the fucking rails, to use a phrase. This was the match, not previous one. It was the disappointment of this, where this again WWE hyperboling it to say, "Oh, it's a fucking dream match," and it just fucking fell to pieces.
Mm. Yeah, and just to be clear, AJ Styles wins via pinfall to retain his WWE title because I forgot to add that bit.
Oh yeah, of course. AJ Styles wins at WrestleMania for once, but gets laid out and is left in a heap. So some things never change.
Yes. This was followed by one of the most annoying matches I think I've ever seen.
Who are you, Jim Cornette? They put a fucking tag team title on a fucking 8-year-old, you motherfuckers!
Yeah, Braun Strowman and mystery guest faced the Bar. The Bar come out like faces on a Mardi Gras float, which I thought was funny.
Those fucking things that look like the Burger King, the fucking Mardi Gras monsters, or whatever the fuck it is. Jesus Christ. I know Vince is happy though.
Yeah. So this match is just really, this is garbage.
Can we just go through the pre-match just before the match itself? So Braun comes out and the audience is like, they've had a bit of a disappointment previous, so they're like, well, this could be anyone. It could be Goldberg, could be Big Show, could be a big surprise. And Braun's like, my tag team partner is one of you. And then he spends about a couple of minutes just pointing towards different people. And then he finally picks out his mark. So he walks over and it's a fucking small boy. And I'm just thinking to myself, where is Jack Turley? Is this person going to have to sign a contract? Do they have manager's license? What the fuck's going to happen?
You know that the boy is the referee's son, right?
Yes, yeah. I had no doubt in my mind he was definitely not a fucking randomer.
So, but when this first happened, I wasn't that annoyed about it, and I'm gonna leave myself open to ridicule just by you, really, if I'm wrong here. But originally, I thought Braun was making a wish. If you get what I mean.
Oh God.
Make a Wish.
Oh,
Yeah. So that's what I thought. I thought when he picked the kid out, I thought, well, fuck, clearly this kid's maybe a bit ill, and this is a huge Make a Wish Foundation thing, and oh, that's quite sweet. And then I read somewhere, I think Alvarez said it on Observer Radio yesterday. It's like, oh, the referee who's actually in the fucking ring. It's his son. And I was kind of like, oh. And then then you find out that Okada, Tanahashi, Suzuki are all in attendance watching this fucking thing, and you just think, ah. That imagine if Suzuki got picked. Obviously, would never happen. That's just
Jesus
fantasy
Christ! You
booking.
must have
But
been like, you
that'd
must
have
have
been
been in a
fun.
delirious state at 5 o'clock in the morning. At this point, you're going like, oh, he's gonna pick Suzuki.
Yeah.
Sleep easy now.
So Braun picks is he a 10-year-old kid?
He's 10, yeah. Sorry, I said that wrong. As if that makes a
Nicholas.
fucking bit of difference. I've got no problems with Nicholas. Nicholas, he said his name clearly. I dare say he cut a better promo than Ronda did at the elimination of the fucking pay-per-view before this.
Yeah, it's still garbage. I've just put on my notes here. Just get on with it. For fuck's sake, it's 4:30 in the morning. So yeah.
I don't want to be. I joke about the cornet thing where it's obvious, there has to be. It's obviously a joke of having a 10-year-old kid in the ring, and it's like, oh, it's a nice feel good moment at WrestleMania, and I'm just thinking to myself, who is this actually aimed for? Because most kids, when we were kids watching wrestling, the last thing I would ever want to do is picture myself tag teaming with anyone to win a tag team championship.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah,
most,
I kind of get what you mean.
I think Matthew from Botchamania had the best comparison where he compared it to that fucking kid from one of the Power Rangers series. It's like it's just an annoying fucking kid, and that's not a knock on Nicholas himself. I mean, obviously he was quite funny on Raw, but I just think with wrestling, I know the argument is like, oh, wrestling's it's predetermined and shit, but it has to have some legitimacy in place. You do have to have the believability that in the tag team division, at least, there has to be viable competitors for it. And
Yeah.
I think like with this match, they had an opportunity where they could have just brought out a surprise wrestler, even Big Show. Fuck it, just bring him out. He signed a new contract. Have him and Braun be like the big lads for a few months.
Well, Samoa Joe's clearly fit now,
Yeah,
so
exactly. Yeah, or Jeff or anyone. But instead, I feel like they've wrote themselves into a corner. Like they obviously had to have Braun still be strong, and he's said he can't have a tag team partner, and they're like, fuck it, he's got to win the belt because if he loses, then all his heat goes, and it's wasted on. Well, I say wasted. I mean, I wouldn't think it's wasted, but in their eyes, it's wasted on Sheamus and Cesaro.
did they got stripped of the title, didn't they, on Raw?
No, he relinquished it.
Oh, he didn't get
He
stripped then.
it wasn't even taken off him, literally because Nicholas has a schedule conflict.
Yeah, it's called Skull.
It's called Skull. It's called Maths.
Yeah, so Braun Strowman and Nicholas the Child won the tag team titles via pinfall, and
So Nicholas in the history books is the youngest ever champion of
champion.
sorts in wrestling history.
Yeah, and that brings an end to our WrestleMania 34 recap and review. So, just going to ask you a couple of questions.
Go on, man. Let's do it.
Well, if you had to rate this WrestleMania out of 10, what would you rate it?
6.
I think 6 I think that's a good number. Yeah.
I was going to say 7, but I thought no, the end was really bad.
No fucking way. No fucking way.
Don't get me
Alright,
wrong.
yes.
As I've said before in wrestling, when it's good, it's great. And in this case, a lot of it was really great. But it just it ended on such a sour note from the WWE Championship match onwards. And no matter how much I praise, Ronda, the SmackDown Women's title match, Daniel Bryan's return, the fact that Taker comes out and actually does have a match with John Cena and looks great, it just goes so downhill from there. It leaves such a bitter taste. And that fucking Universal title match, which I had, firm belief that, oh, well, at least Brock's done. Fuck off, never come back. Let Roman have his moment. No, it's just, it leaves more questions than answers.
Yeah. So, what was your worst match of the card?
Main event. Followed
Yep,
very
Lesnar.
closely by the WWE title match.
Right, so I'll just do this. My worst match was Lesnar and Roman. My
Hmm.
biggest dud was Styles and Nakamura, and my favourite match was the Rousey Angle Triple H Steph mixed tag.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much the same. Just to spice it up, what was your second favourite match after all that?
Probably Charlotte Asuka.
Yeah, no, same with me. And then,
Yeah. The
which is
triple
quite
threat.
sad, really, because it means that the highlights of the show were underneath the halfway point.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think that's very accurate.
Yeah, again, it's. I was actually quite shocked at where Ronda was placed on the card. I thought they would have definitely had her higher up, but I guess the decision to have her earlier on was wise because the crowd wasn't totally fucked from, towards the
Yeah,
end.
no, that's spot on. I suppose it's not too dissimilar to when Triple H and Sting went on fairly early, and they got the crowd really into their match. Maybe Triple H has cottoned on to when to do quite a memorable match at WrestleMania. There you go.
To be fair, that wasn't. If is that insinuating the WrestleMania 18 mess? Because that was not his call to go on dead last.
Which one was that?
The one where he and Jericho finish, as opposed
Oh,
to Hogan and Rock. They were adamant and said we can't go on last because they're gonna fucking the crowd is more interested in Hogan and Rock, and the agents and McMahon were like, no, title match goes on last.
yeah, but they don't do that anymore, do they?
No, don't do that anymore. Again, it's one of the many facets of Vince McMahon, which is so interesting. Where it's like 1 minute he says one thing and then he's dead set on it, and then fucking minutes later it's like, no, polar opposite, and it's your fault for suggesting otherwise.
Hmm. Well, quite. So, WrestleMania in the books, but then obviously a big thing about WrestleMania is the Raw after WrestleMania.
Did you think it
So
was a bit
this,
soured that they keep going on about it being such a big fucking deal now?
well, now it's like when people cotton onto something, then start advertising it, it always ruins it.
That's a better way of putting it than I was going to put it. At the
Yeah,
very start of the program, they basically say tonight is the night after Raw after WrestleMania, where the good guys will get booed and the bad guys will get cheered, and it's like, well, that's fucking done it then, isn't it?
I mean technically they should just advertise it as Raw after WrestleMania, definitely more entertaining than WrestleMania.
Pretty much. This was, I know, it's probably the first full episode of Raw I've watched since last year.
Mm.
But
Josh, all 3 hours.
yeah, yeah,
Christ.
it fucking flew by.
Mm.
I was thoroughly entertained throughout the entire thing. It doesn't help the fact that it is basically the only episode of Raw that you really have to watch throughout the entire year.
Yeah. Well, let's just quickly. I've got a few bullet points as to what happened. So, Ronda hurt Stephanie McMahon again,
Yep.
further cementing her dominance over her, I guess.
I
Suppose
imagine
it,
she'll be suspended next week.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do storyline wise. I suppose they could do a singles match, maybe at SummerSlam, or build towards that. That could be interesting.
I don't know. I mean, obviously that is the obvious booking, but it's like Stephanie's so out of a fucking league at this point. I mean, obviously you've had people, as you've said in the review of the match, kicking off that Stephanie's able to block an armbar, and it's like, yeah, but that's all she can really do.
Mm.
That and punch and slap. She can slap.
She can hit a decent pedigree.
Yeah, she can. Okay, she's got three moves. Three moves against Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, we had a few debuts. So Ember Moon is now on the main roster.
Very obvious at this point, but yeah, good
Mm-hmm.
addition. No complaints.
No Way Jose is now on the main roster.
I think that's gonna die. I think he's gonna die a death on.
Well, he died a death on NXT, didn't he? So I wouldn't be
Literally,
surprised.
literally forgot he was fucking even in NXT, and the only time I got reminded to him prior to this episode of Raw was that he was in the crowd in Mania.
Yeah. On a much sadder note, Paige has seemingly announced her retirement, and even in her retirement speech, has kind of alluded that if Daniel Bryan could come back, then maybe I can. Which, to be honest, made it even more heartbreaking.
Yeah, exactly. I know they say never in wrestling, but she's had numerous injuries. I mean, she's got genetic disposition for spinals. Scoliosis. I probably butchered that.
Yeah.
Whatever that
I
is.
really, really, really hope that she doesn't carny it up and end up going and wrestling for one of her dad's promotions or something. I'm not saying that they can't. I mean, I'm not suggesting that they would do that. I'm just saying she obviously loves wrestling and she's been wrestling since she was like
Your
14
tyres are
years
getting
old.
slashed. You've fucking done it there, haven't you?
No, but she's been wrestling since she was 14, which, I mean, probably isn't far off one of the reasons why she's got such a bad neck or whatever. But yeah, so she's retired. It wasn't fun to watch. It wasn't a nice segment. It was very sad, and I feel quite bad about that
I would
because
like to think they
I
give her
liked her a
some.
lot. I really did.
Yeah, it's an absolute shame because obviously Paige has had a bit of a fucking bad year previous
Well,
to
her
this.
last 2 years have been fucking awful.
Don't get me wrong, if they cover that in that movie, there's probably a reason to actually watch that. But she seems to have turned a corner in her professional career and her personal life,
Mm.
and her career seems to have been ended from a culmination of various injuries and then a fucking just a bad spot at a house show.
She's
Um,
very popular. She's very popular. She's. I've got a feeling that she could do quite well either inside wrestling as an out of ring role, which I don't think she wants, or out of wrestling. I think she's got. She had a lot of. She did when she was at her peak a few years ago. She did a lot of TV and interviews and stuff. I think she was. She's very, very, very popular person. So I'm hoping that she's going to be all right. Oh, I know she'll be all right,
I
but
would
yeah.
like to think they look after. They'll look after her. I'd like to
Mm.
think that they've maybe tested the waters to see how she is in commentary and might have actually, like myself and yourself, have seen. Oh, she's actually quite, quite witty on the mic, and maybe we could actually, push it as an agenda to say, look how diverse our fucking commentary team is now. We've got a woman.
A woman.
A woman. They don't just make babies and make dinners. Look, they can talk as well. It's amazing.
She's only in her 20s as well, isn't
Oh
she? So
no,
it's not
fuck.
even like she's.
She's younger than us, which is in her
God.
20s.
Oh, she's in her 20s. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so that's a sad bit of news. Uh, Moving on, the Authors of Pain have debuted on the main roster without Paul Ellering because apart from Brock and Paul, managers don't really aren't really a thing on the main roster.
No, that doesn't bode well for Almas when he gets the graduation, possibly tonight.
Well, hopefully, and if they do it without Selena Vega, they are fucking stupid.
I know, fucking
Well,
mental
I
if they
think
do.
I don't think his English is good if even if it exists. So I think they're going to need something for him.
I'd like to think so. She's great. They'd be fucking insane not to push her with him. But this is WWE, so logic and sensible booking don't go hand in hand with this company.
Yeah. And we had a handful of returns. So Bobby Lashley has returned to WWE.
Yeah, I'm just again watching me 2007 pay-per-views. Lashley was a major, feature in the company, and I think he's always been a bit of a sore spot for Vince, where he walks out in the company a few years after that,
Mm,
and he's radically different from his previous run, where he was literally just pushed as a white meat babyface with no character, with a good body and some good wrestling moves. Whereas now
yeah.
he's like a fucking legit, entertaining fucking guy.
Yeah, he's not a bad wrestler. He's had some really pretty decent matches in Impact in the last couple of years as well.
Yeah, he's been a solid hand in that company.
Mm.
It's going to be interesting to see what they actually do with him. I mean, I think he's about 40 now. He might be younger than that, actually. I'm not sure. But
Oh, that's an interesting thing.
fingers crossed, he should be good. He looked very impressive in his match.
Yeah, he is 41 years old.
Oh jeez.
Christ.
Well,
He's
if they want a full time version of Lesnar, although I imagine he's probably on some sort of contract, Lashley, because he has been in MMA as well. So
yeah, I don't think he's given up the MMA now. I think he turned down a Bellator deal to do this.
oh, fair enough. I mean, 41 doing legitimate fighting is probably much as Brock would say. It's probably easier to make money in wrestling.
Yeah. Samoa Joe has returned from injury and appears to be setting up a feud with Roman, which was the rumor prior to WrestleMania. So again, I think Roman's going to win the cage match against Lesnar, probably by climbing out the cage, I'm going to guess, keeping Lesnar somewhat strong for any future return. But yeah, I think that Roman and Joe feud will probably be for the Universal title at Backlash.
There's a good promo by Joe as well on the show.
I think he's a decent talker.
Yeah, he always has been. It's just that he's been away for so long at this point. It's fucking easy to forget that not only is he a good wrestler, he's actually very good at talking.
There's just one problem with Samoa Joe.
What's that? Oh shit!
He's fat. He's fat.
Who the fuck? I can't remember. It might have been a Attitude Era podcast where they've said they fucking ruined his theme music as he goes dun 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 dun, and they go Samoa Joe is fat. Is fat. Fucking ruined. Don't, Joe. If you're listening to this, I love you. Please do not hurt me.
Big Papa Pump with the good put downs. Yeah, so he's returned.
Good put downs. He just calls him fat. He's like a fucking 7-year-old. He's fat.
Yeah. With your fat asses.
Surely he's gonna come back at some point.
No, he returned at Impact at their show on Mania weekend. So no,
and he wore an NWO Wolfpack shirt, even though he's never been in the NWO Wolfpack. And I'm pretty sure that's a fucking logo owned by WWE.
Yeah, it is, which is just strange.
They don't. WWE does not give a fuck about Impact. I mean, TNA got its first only mention on fucking WWE programming, minus Joey Styles having a very vague reference to it back in like 2005 or 6. They literally do not give a shit about them. They are small fry.
Yeah,
it was funny though. It was funny.
Yeah, Jeff Hardy's back from injury in inverted commas.
That's injury spelt with a DUI.
And they've kept him away from Matt. So
they did interact in the show.
No. What I mean is that he's clearly not. He's not with Matt, is he?
No, that's obviously they're going to keep Matt and Bray together as some sort of kooky tag team, and they still see Jeff as the super baby face.
Yeah. And the show rounded off with Owens and Zayn. So was it Angle's told them there's only one spot, so they're going up. They're competing for the one spot on Raw. Mm-hmm. I'm sure this is going to end with some kind of fuckery, and they're both on. So yeah, someone actually suggested that they should go back down to NXT for a run. I thought it sounded really good. So I thought that they could. There's some really good matches to be had down there. But,
surely they would then have to take a pay cut, and as I think it might have been not Tyler.
In kayfabe, they might, but
no, I think in real life they would as well. Plus, they'd argue and say they'd have less fucking money coming in through t-shirts and stuff. You get less exposure on NXT. I don't think they'd dump them back down there.
I don't think it'd be for an extended period of time. I think it'd just be for like one takeover cycle. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying it was a suggestion I saw on Twitter, which I thought actually sounded quite good. And that I think there'd be some quite fun matches for one or both of them to have down there. I mean, Owens and Adam Cole would be pretty great, and I'm pretty sure there's some PWG and Ring of Honor matches of theirs out there. I could be wrong, but yeah, that was Raw. It sounds like I haven't watched it. I've watched the YouTube bits and stuff, and read the results.
It was an entertaining show. It was definitely much better than Mania. But as I said before, it's the only episode of Raw you really should watch. But it's a case of the crowd didn't seem as hyped up as they usually do. You know, they always like have the fucking random chants and stuff. But this time they seemed a bit more, placid. And I think that's a culmination of years of them going like, again, promoting the Raw after WrestleMania as the Raw after WrestleMania, as opposed to it just being a show that goes against the narrative.
Yes. And there we go. WrestleMania 34 and the Raw after WrestleMania in the books. Our first WrestleMania review. And there we go. We made it, Harry. We made it to the grandest stage of them all. So we'll be back probably...
Greatest Raw Rumble.
Are we gonna do the greatest? Are we gonna do it? I was just thinking that. We'll probably be back with that.
7 total matches, 50-person Royal Rumble.
Yeah, okay, we'll be back for that, and then obviously Backlash, and then we need to think of some kind of storyline
Oh, I've
episode
got
to
some.
do
I've got some. Don't
because I
worry.
did enjoy the ones we did. What multi-episode storyline do you propose, Harry?
Well, 1998 was obviously one of the biggest years in wrestling, and obviously the WWF at the time was, making lead way with the Austin era. But in WCW, there was a little person called Goldberg. You may have seen him. He was on the Hall of Fame where half the WWE roster fucked off during his speech, which made it eerily quiet. He was on a bit of
Hmm.
a tear. And I proposed that we covered his victory on Nitro when he won the US title and included all the significant dates up until him, spoilers, his winning streak coming to an end at Starrcade 1998.
To Kevin Nash, big sexy
Well, you
baby.
fuck. I believe there was a cattle prod involved, but obviously that would also cover the fuckery of the Ultimate Warrior coming back. Yeah,
Okay,
see?
you've got. I'm in. I'm in. Let's do it.
And the Four Horsemen returning, and as an epilogue, we'd obviously have the most devastating finger poke in wrestling history.
Let's do that. That sounds fun.
Yeah, no, I've got it.
So
I've got it. I've got all the apps lined up. I'll send you it.
cool. That means we're done, and we've got some stuff coming up in the future. So look at us. Look at us go.
Yeah, we're done until Jeddah, which I think's the name of that planet in Rogue One as well.
What?
That's where the greatest Royal Rumble's being held. Is it being held in
Oh.
Jeddah, which I think is the name of the planet in Rogue One where the Jedi are, because it's a children's movie and they might confuse people if they call it something else.
I think you might be right there.
I think I'm right. I think it's sad as well.
Hmm.
How sad's that?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for listening. You can catch us on Twitter, SWA_podcast, soundcloud.com/smartsforattitude, and smartsforattitude@gmail.com.
I have no
If-
idea, Reece.
Well, yeah, I need to check that. But yeah,
Maybe
thank
just
you
give
for
me the
listening.
password and I'll have a look. It's just going to be email spamming us going, why do you two just keep fucking doing this?
Yeah, well, we'll see. And yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back soon. So thanks for listening. Toodaloo.
See you guys.